Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Tega, the Digital Director and Deputy Communications Director for the Senate Democratic Caucus. Late last week, South Carolina's legislation passed a 6-week abortion ban. And the governor of South Carolina decided to sign the abortion ban into law. While this new law is currently held up in court, Virginia is the only state in the South that has not passed new abortion restrictions in the wake of the Supreme Court Dobbs decision. But these abortion bans in neighboring states are already having effect, and Republicans across the Commonwealth are promising to ban abortions if taking control in the General Assembly in November. So to discuss these issues and what's at stake this election year, we have an exciting, amazing, excellent group of senators who are going to discuss what's happening, as well as with Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia, Executive Director Jamie Lockhart, to share their thoughts. We're going to start with Caucus Chair Senator Mimi Locke.
Guess I need to take myself off mute. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so very much for joining us this morning for this very important discussion. Republicans have not been shy about their plans to end Virginians' freedom to make their own healthcare decisions. Republican candidates for the General Assembly this year have promised to completely defund Planned Parenthood and ban abortions with no exceptions to protect the health of the mother or for victims of rape and incest. They've cheered on the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision and supported their counterparts in other states who passed extreme abortion bans that have put lives in danger. We've seen what Republicans have done in the past to restrict abortion access in Virginia. They passed legislation mandating invasive transvaginal ultrasounds, instituted waiting periods that make it harder for women to get the care they need, and they've repeatedly tried to pass legislation to ban abortion in every legislative session over the past several years. The fundamental freedom to make your own healthcare decisions is at stake in this year's elections. Republican politicians in Virginia want to meddle in some of the most intimate and difficult decisions people have to make. They want to pass new laws that tell doctors how to do their jobs and force their patients to make difficult choices. Virginians should be free to decide what's best for them without the governor dictating their health care decisions for them. I will now turn it over to Senator Deeds.
Thank you, Senator Locke, and thank you all for being here. Senate Democrats are the only people and have been the only people standing between Virginians and an abortion ban similar to the one passed in North Carolina this past year. Like North Carolina was, we know that we are only one election away from banning access to abortion. Virginians are going to have to fight like hell to protect our reproductive freedom, our reproductive rights. And we intend in the Senate, we intend to fight like hell. I want to turn it over to my friend and colleague from Northwestern Fairfax County, Senator Boysko, to explain some of the consequences of these awful laws.
Thank you so much, Senator Deeds. I appreciate that. You know, we've seen the consequences of these extreme abortion bans in other states, and women have been forced to give birth, even when it puts their lives at risk or their pregnancies are non-viable. Over the past year, we've seen horrific stories from across the country of the dangerous and deadly consequences of these draconian abortion bans. And I can tell you personally, as someone who nearly died in my own pregnancy giving birth, I can say that the stakes are just too high. We cannot let this happen in Virginia. It's already a challenge for many Virginians to access abortion care because so many people live far away from a provider. And with the influx of patients we expect from neighboring states with these bans around our community, it will be even more difficult for patients to get the care that they need. So let's just be real clear. Abortion bans pose a real threat to the health and well-being of pregnant people across the Commonwealth and across the country. It is a fact that maternal mortality is significantly higher in states with abortion bans, and we Democrats have made tremendous progress recently, expanding our access to health care and making our Commonwealth a safer place to live and raise a family. A ban on abortion would take us backwards. And now you'll hear from another champion for reproductive rights, my good friend, Senator George Barker. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Boysko. I'm clearly one of the ones that's been involved in these issues for a long time, over many years. Virginia is the #1 battleground state this year when it comes to protecting abortion rights. There are only 4 states that have elected legislators in odd years, the other 3 being New Jersey, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And we're one of the few states where we have a split legislature, with Democrats in control of the Senate and Republicans in control of the House of Delegates. So you put those 2 things together, and we're the #1 place where there are options that people will have, and all 140 seats in the General Assembly are up for re-election this year. The Republicans need only to flip a few Senate seats to get a legislative trifecta that will give them the power to enact extreme abortion bans. We need to be on guard for that. Republicans running for the Senate this year have already been talking about some of the restrictions on abortion they would like to implement. Some have even said they would support abortion bans with no exception for victims of rape and incest. And just this past year, in my subcommittee, thanks to Senator Louise Lucas appointing me chair of that, I was chair of the committee in health professions, and we had 5 abortion bills that were really restrict the ability of women to be able to get abortions. And thank you for that, Senator Lucas. All 5 bills we heard, we did hearings on each of them. We had very good discussion, and in the end, we killed all 5 of those bills. We need to be prepared to do that again next year. And the only way to stop the GOP agenda that we're from becoming law is to help us protect and expand our pro-choice Democratic majority in the Senate. And with that, I will now turn it over to my good friend, Senator Lucas.
I think I have myself off of mute. Thank you so much for that introduction, Senator Barker. With North and South Carolina's new abortion bans, Virginia is now the only state in the South that has not passed new restrictions on abortion following the Supreme Court decision in Dobbs. North Carolina's abortion restrictions go into effect later this summer, and South Carolina's new bill is currently held up in court. We've seen what has happened over the past year. Since Dobbs, Republicans, state legislators across this country have passed dangerous new abortion bans that will make it harder for women to get the health care that they need. North and South Carolina are the most recent examples of 14 states. Other states have outright bans on abortions as well. The Supreme Court has left abortion rights up to the states to defend, and we know that anti-abortion extremists like Governor Youngkin will stop at nothing until they pass new restrictions on Virginia's reproductive freedom. During his campaign for governor, Glenn Youngkin promised that he would take action to ban abortion, and this past year, we saw Republicans in the General Assembly try to pass various bills restricting abortion access. But as promised, we defeated all of those bills. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Jamie Lockhart, and I call her the rock star, because over a decade of professional experience in nonprofit advocacy and political organizing and public policy, she serves as the executive director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia, a statewide advocacy organization whose mission is to preserve and broaden access to reproductive health care through legislation, political education, electoral activity, and litigation in the Commonwealth of Virginia if necessary. With that, I turn it over to the illustrious Jamie Lockhart.
Thank you, Senator Lucas. Good morning, everyone. As Senator Lucas just said, I'm Jamie Lockhart, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia. I want to remind everyone that as of today, abortion is still safe and legal here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, in North Carolina, and in South Carolina. But make no mistake, abortion access is being devastated across the South, and Virginians are at risk of losing the right to reproductive freedom. In the 11 months since the Dobbs decision revoked our constitutional right to essential healthcare, 20 states have banned abortion, with the highest concentration of those bans being across the South. If you go southwest from Virginia all the way to New Mexico, every state in between is contending with an abortion ban. Either a ban is in place, taking effect soon, or before courts. North Carolina just became the 4th state sharing a border with Virginia to ban abortion. Their 12-week ban, or really a 10-week ban, since the majority of abortions in North Carolina are medication abortions, includes a number of onerous restrictions for even earlier in pregnancy and will go into effect this July 1st. South Carolina's 6-week abortion ban has temporarily been blocked by a state court, though we don't know for how long. It's also important to say that it's already difficult to access care in North Carolina and South Carolina, and that South Carolina has only 3 abortion providers serving its state of over 5 million. But patients who have the means to travel for an abortion are doing so. This creates a ripple effect. It adds pressure on the health center operations in surrounding states and disrupts access to abortion for people in those access states like Virginia. Despite abortion providers' efforts to increase available appointments and innovatively expand access for patients through telemedicine, their dramatic influx of out-of-state patients leads to long wait times for people from those access point states needing care. Forced to delay their care, patients are then pushed further into pregnancy when they're able to access the abortion care they seek. They may also, in turn, have to travel further to get the abortion care they need, a costly endeavor that is already out of reach for many, or forego care altogether and carry a pregnancy against their will. Abortion bans do not stop people from having abortions. They only make care harder to access. This burden falls disproportionately on Black and Brown folks, undocumented people, non-binary, transgender, and LGBTQ folks, and those with low incomes, and those who are unable to travel to seek care. Every person should be able to access essential reproductive care regardless of where they live. While these anti-abortion lawmakers work overtime to restrict reproductive rights, they ignore the ripple effects that their actions have across our communities. Our communities do not live single-issue lives, nor should our health be viewed through a single-issue lens. If there was any doubt, let me be clear. Abortion is on the ballot in 2023. Virginians need their elected officials to fight like hell to protect safe, legal abortion. They don't need senators who would help Governor Youngkin enact his dangerous anti-abortion agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That was great. For any of our members of the press, we have a few minutes for you to ask any questions. So please raise your hand with the raise your hand button, and then unmute yourself, and we'll go from there. Well, seeing that it seems like there's no questions, I want to thank our members. Oh, 1 second, we do have a question. So writing, okay. Drew, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so I was just wondering if anyone could speak to, this is Drew Wilder, by the way, with NBC4 up in DC, Northern Virginia. I was just wondering if anybody could speak to, I guess, kind of the current volume of patients on Virginia's healthcare system. You know, where is that at, and how might that be impacted if we have, you know, friends from North Carolina, South Carolina, et cetera, who, you know, given the restrictions there, kind of make their way up and try to seek access in Virginia. Can our system support that, and what might need to be done to help, if anything?
I'm happy to speak to that. So we have seen patients coming from all across the South accessing care in Virginia, but because access has been relatively protected in North Carolina and South Carolina, as well as there's been access in Florida. We haven't seen the influx of patients that we're likely to see once all of these bans actually take effect. So we are anticipating an additional thousands of patients to seek care in Virginia. And as I said about North Carolina and South Carolina, we know it's already difficult for many people to access care within their communities. And so we know that this will create a ripple effect that will not only impact folks who need to travel to access care from other states, but it will impact Virginians as well. And we anticipate that there will be increased wait times for Virginians seeking care as a result of these bans in other states.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie. And I guess a follow-up to that, we know that, access to really anything has a lot of layers to it, including transportation, can be a real, limitation for people, especially in this case. Does Planned Parenthood or any of the politicians have any ideas or plans to, I guess, maybe assist or provide any type of, kind of help to folks who maybe are in North Carolina but have trouble getting here or don't have a place to stay, can't afford a place to stay if they come here, et cetera?
I can speak briefly to that, and then if anyone else wants to chime in too. So right now, a lot of folks have been supported through the Abortion Fund Network as they are needing to travel to access care. Planned Parenthood also has patient navigators on staff who are helping people get from where they live to access care. And so there is a commitment to doing everything possible to help people to access the care that they need.
Thank you.
Awesome. Is there anyone else with any other questions? Now I think we're good. So thank you to our members and thank you to Jamie for making the time for this important discussion. If any of the reporters have any follow-up, please reach out to me or Grant for any additional information or background. So thank you so much.